In today's NFL, being a safety means you have to be one of the most versatile players on the field at all times. You have to hit like a linebacker, cover like a cornerback, and play smarter than most quarterbacks in the league. And with all that, you still don't get the recognition that you deserve. Now, the average NFL safety stands in at about 6 feet tall and weighs about 210 pounds. They're usually smaller than the linebacker and a little bigger than the cornerback. And these guys are expected to do the job of both of these positions at an exceptional level. That's why I want to take a deeper look into this position and do a little bit of research. I'm shocked by the way these guys are paid in the NFL. So the average safety in the NFL gets paid around $15 million per year. Compare this to the top cornerback who's making about $20 million per year, or the edge rusher who's making about $25 million per year. Even the linebacker who takes similar punishment all make more than the safety. So today we're going to see exactly why being a safety in the NFL sucks so much and what potentially the league could do to really help this once great position get back its original value. So if you're interested in that, my boy, stick around for the rest of the video and subscribe. Let's get it, man. So like we always do, we're going to break down the video into our two parts. We're going to have the history and the context, get you guys some understanding about the position, and then we go into the arguments for why the position sucks and why it's struggling right now in the current day NFL. So in the early days of football, defenses didn't have specialized role like we see today. The term safety came from the deep defenders whose job was to prevent the offense from scoring. Their primary responsibility was simple, guys. Stay at the back, read the plays, read the quarterback, and stop any deep passes or long run. And this is why in the 1940s and 50s, as the passing game became more and more common, defenses had to start to evolve. This is where safeties were split into two distinct types. You now have the free safeties who played a little deeper to cover passes, and then you have the strong safeties who play a lot closer to the line of scrimmage. This distinction in the position kind of solidified the foundation for what it means to be a safety in the current day NFL. And now when we fast forward to the 1970s, this is where safeties became more physical. This is where the position became a core component of the football game. This is where defenses relied on safeties a lot more to stop offenses. We had guys like Jack the Assassin Tatum. We had studs like Larry Wilson. These guys who really invented the safety blitz and helped redefine the position into what it is today, which is the combination of pure brains and brawn, people. The safety position, kind of like the linebacker, very similar, really embodied the two components of football, where you have to be extremely smart, even sometimes smarter than a quarterback, but you also have to be the most physical, the most terrifying player on the football field at all times. This versatility really made the position very, very important and hard to find players and recruit for. Now, when we move on to the 2000s, which most people will refer to as the golden age of the safety position, this is where we see the position take another step forward. This is where the safety position evolved to that ball hawk type style that we see in the current day NFL. Players like Ed Reed showed that the position was really built to outsmart quarterbacks, and guys like Troy Polamalu, who could literally line up anywhere on the field, showed the versatility of the position, showed the fact that the safety position, similar to the linebacker, could do whatever is needed of them on defense. And even with all this new component of the position, these guys still managed to keep their physicality. The safeties in the 2000s still hit as hard as safeties in the early 70s and 80s. The only difference was they were getting more picks. They were outsmarting quarterbacks a lot more. The position keeps getting more and more important to teams nowadays, and that's where we're going to see the contradiction as we get into more of the problems that I see in how the safety position is treated by the league. So like I mentioned earlier, you have two types of safeties. You have the strong safety as well as the free safety, and their roles do overlap sometimes, but let's start with the strong safety. As a strong safety, you're primarily closer to the line of scrimmage. You're acting almost like a hybrid linebacker. So your job is to help stop the run, cover the tight end, and occasionally blitz the quarterback. Strong safeties safeties tend to be a lot bigger and more physical than their counterparts because they're constantly involved in heavy tackles and playing against bigger players. Now for the free safeties, these are the guys that would define as your ball hawk. The free safeties are usually the last line of defense. Their primary job is to patrol the deep part of the field and prevent big plays, and also read that quarterback like a hawk. These guys have to be very instinctual when it comes to playing football. It isn't just about their athleticism, it's also about them understanding the field and finding a way to manipulate that quarterback. So all that now leads us on to my arguments for why the safety position sucks. Now for my number one reason why it sucks to be a safety in the NFL is the fact that you have to be everywhere. Now like I said earlier, these guys are some of the most versatile players in the NFL, and as a safety you have to cover the entire field. One player you're dropping back in coverage to cover the deep pass, and the next player you're charging up to stop the running back, or you're trying to blitz the quarterback. If you're late on either of these assignments, it could mean a touchdown. And this fate is a lot more scary than the cornerback position, because as a cornerback, you are usually designated to one side of the field so you can see where you need to defend. Same thing with the linebacker. Your designated space is the middle of the field. But as a safety, because you're the last line of defense, you have to be everywhere. You have to see everywhere. You have to see things before they happen. And this is why when we look at a guy like Troy Polamalu, we can see the embodiment of a great safety. We can see the impressive nature and the literal IQ it takes to play this position.
When you look at an offense and then you see, hey man, they attack you in this way, and I'm a safety, I'm like, I play every position. I know what everybody's doing. If I know the ball's going there, coach, I'm just gonna switch with it. I'm gonna say, all right, you know, linebacker, you play safety, I'm gonna play linebacker, because I know if you play it right, but I know the play. I'm gonna blow it up. So for me, that's kind of where I started to really develop. I started seeing, man, I'm knowing everybody's role, and if I know that the ball's gonna go there, I'm just gonna switch positions with him.
That's why he's the GOAT! The GOAT!
This position takes a lot out of a player, and if you have a good one, that could mean the difference between a good defense and a bad defense. So that's for me is number one of why it sucks to be a safety. Now for number two, let's take a look at the physicality of the position. When it comes to a position being extremely physical, when you look on the defensive side of the ball, you have to think safety, you have to think linebacker. But the thing with the safety is the velocity of the speed that these guys hit with. Yes, their career length isn't as low as the cornerback per se. The safety is involved in some of the worst collisions in football. They're running at high speeds, trying to go out there and hit their guy. They have to play the game with zero fear. And obviously a guy like Brian Dawkins really embodied this aspect of the game. The physicality, the courage, the absolute lunatic crash out mindset it takes to play safety. It is insane, guys.
Let's go. The time is gone.
Hell no. No.
And all of this you're doing, putting your body on the line, and yet you are the least valued position on your team. Hey guys, I gotta stop you right here. We just hit 3K subscribers, okay? You guys have been breaking every goal I set, so now let's go for 4K, okay? I think by the end of this year, we're trying to get the 10K subscribers. All right, that would be huge. Thank y'all for all the support. Let's get back to the video. Now we'll move on to number 3, and looking at how bad the safety position is, we can clearly see that these guys have to learn a lot more than any other position on defense. And I'm gonna say the cornerback position is tough mentally, but the safety position have to be tough mentally, have to be tough physically, have to be tough in a weird sense that they need to be crash out to perform at their jobs. And I'm obviously talking more so of the strong safety, but even as a free safety, you have to be a lunatic out there. You have to turn into this weird sort of animal that is needed to play this position very well. Obviously, Brian Dawkins embodied this really well, but guys, this is what I'm talking about when we see the safety position. Look at the likes of Kirby Joseph, this guy that literally won the game for the Lions against the 49ers a week ago. These are the unsung heroes of our defense, and these are the guys that are getting underpaid. These are the guys that are being left under the bus because when people talk on offense about the running back, about the fullback, you never hear people talk on defense about the safety. Yeah, we talk about how the cornerback don't get value, but the safety position is core to a good defense. They could be almost as important of a glue as a linebacker, but yet they literally are valued half as much as that position. Take a look at guys like Minkah Fitzpatrick, the importance that he have in that Pittsburgh defense, and yet a lot of people are looking at the pass rushers like TJ Watt. But a player like Minkah obviously makes the job of opposing quarterbacks so much harder. It makes the defense work so much better. It makes the flow of that cohesion in that group a lot better. I don't think a position that is this important should be treated the way these guys are treated. Look at Xavier McKinney with the Green Bay Packers this year. The amount of picks and interceptions this guy has had is absolutely impressive. And then we see the genius of Antoine Winfield, guys. These are just some examples of great safeties across the league today, doing things day in, day out, helping their teams win games, but yet aren't getting the recognition and the praises that they really deserve. And that's why we're making a video like this. We go over the plight of players like these. We go over the struggles that these guys go through with the position. The difficulty in actually negotiating contracts for these positions is absolutely absurd. If you're a safety in the NFL, just because trends are against you, it doesn't mean that your position and the work that you do isn't more valuable or as valuable as the other players that are getting paid. And I do think the fact that they have to be a jack of all trades, play the cornerback, play the linebacker, play the DN all at once, makes this one of the hardest and suckiest position of them all on defense. I don't even know if suckiest is a word.
Relax.
Now, we have to talk about the pay. This is the most important one because as a safety in the NFL, your value is one of the most shocking. These guys, it's not like they are the running back. It's not like they are the tight end where the versatility in the position hurts them. Your versatility as a safety only helps you, but yet the league are paying them like other highly versatile positions. I understand they aren't as big as a linebacker or DN, but the safety does so much more in bringing those two positions together. A good safety allows the defense to mess up. A good safety allows mistake and make other positions, other players play the game freely. And those are the effects that teams don't see when they start to lower the contracts of safeties. And I know I'm not the only one that see this. A lot of y'all as fans understand this and see this currently going on in the league. They aren't valuing these guys the way they should. They aren't paying these guys. That's why I had so many requests of y'all wanting this position to be talked about, because they do deserve the spotlight. They deserve to be understood for the job that they do. So now that we understand all of that, and we've talked on this channel a lot about all these positions, especially the plight of the defensive positions in football, I think the overarching theme here that we have to understand is that teams have begun to undervalue some of the core positions in football. I think teams are beginning to undervalue these positions specifically because of the rise in the quarterback position. And the quarterback position, though important, they are taking a lot of the salary cap from teams, and that forces them to devalue some other positions. So it's not at the end of the day teams' fault that these players aren't getting paid as much. It's because of the over-reliance on quarterbacks. So you might be asking, what is the problem? Should teams rely on quarterbacks like they do right now? And I honestly think that is a problem right now in the league. That is something that doesn't help us as fans, because it takes the game away from a team-based sport to now an individual style of sport. Teams are over-reliant on this one position, and it doesn't even help the quarterback position because of this over-reliance. It actually hurts it. That's why we see rookie quarterbacks in the league right now struggling a lot, because they're seen as saviors. The NFL is turning into a one-man league. This is something I believe they're borrowing from the NBA, where they rather raise stars than teams. And y'all as fans, y'all know that that isn't cool, man. And hopefully these positions that we've talked about finally get some of the recognition that they need, because you're gonna watch the video. Go out there, watch all the videos, and let me know your thoughts down in the comments, my boy. Also subscribe. Mwah.